So the whole area of corruption has to be addressed. We have many resources, not only minerals, but also our good land, our educated people. But it hasn't been coming together. The fruits are not being seen, except for maybe a small minority of people that we notice are driving around with big cars, and we see them. We see the traffic on the road in our cities. But for the vast majority of people, they're still living in very poor conditions, in poor living conditions, and with very little money to provide for their families. So corruption really eats into the life of a country. Corruption basically means that if I'm corrupt, I'm taking something from myself which belongs to others, that belongs to the people. If I'm evading tax, if I'm getting kickbacks, if I'm taking bribes, if I'm insisting on bribes for some work, it means that that cost has to be met by others. Or that money that I've taken for myself that should have gone to provide better education, better roads, or just better services for the people. So people suffer when there is corruption. One person benefits, I benefit, but my brothers and sisters suffer in the consequence. So that needs to be addressed in the country. Perhaps one of the reasons for corruption in so many walks of life is that people feel they're not being rewarded sufficiently for the work that they do. In our public servants or even in the private sector. So people think I'm entitled to take more because I'm not getting rewarded as I ought to get. Or I've given a lot of public service to the people and they don't seem to appreciate it. So I must get rewarded myself, maybe by benefiting from my office. But as Pope Francis said, corruption is really a cancer that can really eat into our hearts. Because we know as Catholics, as Christians, we stand in the presence of God every moment. That everything we do here on earth, we have to give an answer to. So if I have stolen money, it's better that I repay that money before I complete my life on earth. Otherwise, I go with that sin, with that fault on my soul before our Heavenly Father. So we're all encouraged, from the smallest things to the big items, to stop corruption, because it's only going to bring you unhappiness and guilt and regret that you will carry maybe to your grave. So it's a serious issue for the economic revival of our country, because corruption, it really drives away investment, especially international investment. And as we know, sadly, Zimbabwe is quite high up on the list of corrupt countries in the world. So we need to get a good reputation as being an honest and truthful people, and that business is done in a truthful way in Zimbabwe. So that will attract international investors into the country even more, so that our economy can even begin to grow stronger over the coming years.